Hello you guys, welcome to today's first declutter video. I want to say of the end of the year. For me, I have done like a lip declutter recently, so I'm not going to do a lip declutter again because I've done it so recently, but I do want to do an end of the year declutter for all of the rest of my makeup. I keep rethinking how I feel about makeup just over time and the consumption of it and what I like and what I don't like. And so I keep moving closer and closer to, I want to have a more dialed down collection because I want to reach for things that I absolutely love before they start to go bad. I have said this in other declutter videos, but I'm getting even more and more brutal as the months progress. So in today's video, we are going to be tackling primers, concealers, foundations I'm not going to do. I will tell you guys why later on in the video. I'm going to be doing setting sprays. I also do a little bit of brow products and mascaras, and that's all I'm tackling for today. I am going to get to blush, bronzer, highlighter, face palettes. My children are literally downstairs like screaming at each other, which is fine. They're having a great time. You never know what's gonna happen with 9.5 years between them. And for the very first time since the beginning of my channel, I am actually going to do a pretty brutal eyeshadow declutter. I have never done that before. I think I've done collection videos, but I don't know if I've actually done a declutter video of any of my eyeshadow palettes. I wanna say I've decluttered a couple of them over time just because I didn't want to keep them, but I have never done a full-scale eyeshadow declutter. So if you guys are interested in that, please make sure to subscribe so that you can stick around to see that. I love eyeshadow declutter videos myself, and I am going to challenge myself to get pretty brutal. It may be after the beginning of the year that I do the eyeshadow palette declutter videos, simply because I want to do a full ranking of all of the eyeshadow palettes that I tried in 2023, and we have not finished that, and I've got some new ones that I am currently testing and working on, so I want to put those into the very next ranking video. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I am going to try and be pretty brutal in this video. Brutal for me, you guys may not be like half of my collection, but I have such a hard time letting things go. So if I let go 1/3 of anything, it is a big deal for me. And that's it for the intro. Let's hop into the declutter. Okay, here are all the primers. Seems logical that we'll start with the primers. So I'm gonna take these all out and lay them down. Okay, I think we'll start here. For somebody who doesn't wear primers very often, I have quite a few, but I like a lot of them and I don't want to get rid of them. What I want to start doing is using them more often. I know that may seem silly, but there are some really good ones in here that actually do work. And so those are the ones that I'd like to get use from instead of feeling overwhelmed that I just have so many. So as far as like hydrating primers go, I have quite a few and I don't use them that often. If I grab for primers, it's usually like a grippy primer or a pore filling primer, something like that, not overly hydrating. So I think the hydrating ones in this particular stack is probably these ones right here. I think I have a couple more, but these are definitely the ones from this group that are more on the hydrating side. I really enjoy the one from Glossier. I think it's thin. I think it's good for my kind of combo oily skin, that it doesn't like make me greasy. So I do like this. I really liked it when I first got it, but I haven't reached for it in a while. So I want to hold on to this one because this is one that I want to end up putting in my project pan soon. I am working on a more hydrating primer now, but when I'm done with that one, I think I may grab this one next. So I'm going to hold on to the one from Glossier. I think the one from Sephora is good. Again, I just don't reach for hydrating primers that often. So I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to declutter that. Same thing with the Milani Skin Quench. I think it's really nice. So I'm gonna declutter the Milani Skin Quench. It's good, it's just I don't need that many hydrating primers. I like both of these. This one doesn't have that much left. I actually may end up putting this also like in a project pan, maybe before the Glossier. I think this one is older, so I'll probably move this one in first and then the Glossier. So I'm gonna hold on to it. This is a little bit different because it's supposed to be like a radiant glow. I don't really see that, but I like that it's thin. Do I need to hold on to this one? You know what? I am gonna let this go. I'm gonna declutter it. It's just gonna sit around because I would honestly rather reach for this one from Dior, the Forever Glow Veil. It's hydrating. It doesn't really have a ton of luminosity. It has like little pearls, but they don't really translate to the skin. I just would rather use this one because it was more expensive. So declutter that one, hold on to the Dior one. And then as far as like illuminating primers go here, I have these ones, the one from Rare Beauty and then like the one from e.l.f. I consider this a primer. That's how I wear it. The L'Oreal Lumi Glotion is nice. It's thin. It's a repurchase, I believe, in my collection. So I'm going to hold on to that one. The one from Moira Beauty is thicker. It's an illuminating primer, but it's more of a thick consistency, a thick texture. I like it. This one I feel like is the most tinted. Maybe the one from e.l.f. is too, but that's just a thinner formula. I kind of feel like this is a really good one for a nice base. So I am gonna hold on to the one from Moira Beauty, and I haven't gotten that much use out of it either. Also gonna hold on to the one from e.l.f. Haven't used this that much. I am trying to pan the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless filter at the moment, so maybe when I'm done with that, then I will start using this, but I'm gonna hold on to it. And then the one from Rare Beauty, this is the illuminating primer. While I think this is good, and I have used, I don't know, a little less than half of it, I've had it in my collection for a while and haven't reached for it, so I am gonna get rid of it. I wanna say these are the grippy primers that I have. I don't know how I feel about the Hourglass number 6. Is that what it's called? No, the number 28. It's the primer serum. I've had this in my collection for a while. It's a pretty pricey item for how much product you get. Again, haven't reached for this in a while. Don't know how I feel about it. Want to test this out a little bit more. It has a really strong like eucalyptus scent, but it's a very, very grippy primer. It almost feels like aloe vera. If that kind of like describes the consistency, that's kind of what it feels like. So I'm gonna keep giving this a shot. This may not stay. It may be something I end up decluttering. This e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with 4% niacinamide. This is newer to my collection, but I do enjoy it. I think it's grippy, but not sticky, so I like that. This is the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. I don't like this. It's not sticky enough and it's hydrating. Like it's just not for me. And I think I've held on to the mini for reference and maybe even thought I was gonna put this in a project pan. I'm probably gonna hold on to this for reference and move it to the closet, my library of items, but I do not wanna keep this in my permanent collection. It's just not a product that I really enjoy. Same thing with the hard candy. I bought this as a dupe for that. And again, think maybe I'll keep it for reference for a couple of months. If I don't end up like talking about it for whatever reason, I will end up decluttering this. But I am gonna call both of these declutter because I'm not gonna hold on to them in my personal collection. These are the 3 that I have that are like redness reducers. The one that works the best is the Catrice Anti-Redness Primer. This one I feel like fades off. This doesn't even look like it does anything at all. This is the Makeup Revolution CC Swirl Primer. It's supposed to be a color correcting primer with vitamin C and hyaluronic acid. While I like vitamin C and hyaluronic acid, I get those things for my skincare. I just didn't see this doing anything, so gonna declutter this one. The Essence Redness Reducer Primer is a thinner formula than the Catrice one, so it's nice. You don't like layering products up. I think it's good. I just don't think it's as effective as the Catrice for me personally. So I'm gonna declutter the Essence one because I really only need one in my collection. I don't use it that often, and when I do, I want it to really work. So gonna hold on to the Catrice one and declutter Essence. I want to say these are like my skin smoothing ones. This is another one that I've had for a while that I want to put into a project pan. I feel like these 2 are kind of like chopping block for me. I don't really know how I feel about them, so they'll probably go into a chopping block. I feel like this is a smoothing primer, but also grips my makeup. It's also very soft and silky, so I do like it. Just don't reach for it enough. So holding onto it for project panning. Same thing with the Angel Veil. It's a skin perfecting primer. It reminds me very much of the Marshmallow primer. I would rather reach for the Marshmallow one than this one. I don't remember this being as grippy to my foundation as the NYX Marshmallow primer, so I'm gonna declutter this one, even though I think it's really good. Like it's a really silky formula, I just don't reach for it. This one snuck up on me. I had this in my chopping block this year. It used to really pill up on my skin, so I didn't like it. I've had it in my collection for a while, and then I used it, and boy, it like smoothed out my skin under my foundation so well. I was using it with some of the foundations that are a little bit more textured, and it was beautiful. So actually, not only am I gonna keep this, I actually highly recommend this. So holding on to that one. I have a couple here that are more like blurring, mattifying, the pore diffusing kind. Rare Beauty Pore Diffusing Primer. Going to hold on to this one. I do really enjoy these kinds of primers right now, and I think the Rare Beauty one is really, really good. And especially if you have dry skin, I think this is a really good formula. It didn't dry me out when I had dry skin. I really enjoy this, and I have about half left. So I'll also end up probably putting this in a project pan. The Milk Makeup Pore Eclipse. This is new. This is just a mini, but love this one as well. So holding on to that. The Cali Ray So Blown Clean Blurring Primer is nice and silky. It is not as blurring as both of those other ones, but it's pretty good. And because I'm into blurring primers lately, these are the ones that I am like reaching for the most. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. Then I have one here. This is the Longwear Foundation Grip All Nighter Face Primer. Boy, I just don't remember how this performs at all. I've had this for a while and I legit can't remember. And I'm looking at my primers now. I don't think I need this. Like, I never reach for it. So I'm gonna declutter this one also. This is the one I currently have in my project pan. I had two and I finished off one. I had the Tatcha Silk Canvas, finished that off. And now this one has just a teensy bit left at the bottom there. It's the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer. Pretty sure this is like the old formulation, old packaging, so they don't have exactly this anymore. That's why I'm trying to use it up. But this I absolutely loved. This was one of my like favorite hydrating primers because it's so thin and lightweight and like sinks into the skin. Really good, I think, for oily skin. Don't know anything about the reformulation, but this is in my project pan. I'm going to end up probably finishing this off in the next couple of weeks. So gonna hold on to that one, and then I will move the other ones that I talked about into my project pan. Then I have two that are kind of like illuminating. I have the Cali Ray Just Add Rays Glow Bronzing Drops. Because these are the only kind of like bronzing drops I have in my collection, I wanna hold on to these. These are for face and body, so it's not just like a primer necessarily, but I do mix it in with my foundations, some of them that tend to be on the drier side, and I think they're really nice. And then I have the Say Glowy Super Gel in Star Glow. Is that what it is? Yeah, Star Glow. I really like this as well for an illuminating primer. It's about half gone. It's just a mini. I may end up putting this in the project pan before the e.l.f. because this is a little bit older, and I decluttered the Rare Beauty one. So gonna hold on to this one. And then finally, I have the Drunk Elephant Virgin Marula Luxury Facial Oil. I used to use this as a primer all the time. I have not reached for this in a while, but I do use facial oils like in my skincare routine, especially at night when I want them to like soak into my skin more. So this, I'm gonna move downstairs. Technically not decluttering it, just decluttering it from my primer drawer. So this one is going to go downstairs. I will just like exclude it from the number here. Okay, so I ended up decluttering 10, which I actually feel pretty good about. Like, decluttering for me is such a hard task, and I usually do declutters and then none of them are brutal. I have never done a significant brutal declutter before because I'm like a hoarder. I like to hold on to things like, oh, I might use it, I might love it. I'm just that way, but I am getting to a point where I don't feel like I need to be that way. So 10 primers for me, huge, huge deal. So all of these are gonna go, and these are the ones I am holding on to. 17. Still too much for somebody who doesn't wear primer that often. A couple of them are gonna go into my chopping block, and then one of them I'm almost done with, and then some of them are gonna go into my project pan. I think I'm probably gonna target the ones that are about half full and then see if I can't use them up. For example, the Rare Beauty one and then the Say one, so. Next, we're gonna do setting sprays. Again, not a category that I use very often, and I have more than I really need. I don't like dewy sprays anymore. I used to really love them, but they just don't work for me now being kind of combo oily. So I wanna kind of get rid of the dewy ones. I don't think I have that many, but I'm usually reaching for something that's mattifying and like long lasting. So speaking of which, the Moira Beauty Oil Control Makeup Setting Spray is not only a good setting spray, it is a really mattifying setting spray. It's probably one of my favorites. What I want to do with this, because the sprayer for whatever reason like started shooting out in like a single drip, is get rid of one of these sprays and like replace the bottle, like move this into one of the other ones. I know that seems like kind of silly, but I like this setting spray so much, I don't want to just get rid of it because the sprayer isn't working. I want to find like a different solution for it. So this one I'm going to hold on to. And then I have a couple of like fixing mists, and I don't really use them that often. So I really only want to hold on to, man, This one doesn't have much. This one doesn't have much. I feel like I can probably like end up using both of these up. Okay, I'm gonna end up decluttering this. This is the NYX Met Cayenne Mist. It was from the Way of the Water Avatar collection that came out, and I really enjoyed this mist. I thought it was actually really nice, but because I'm not really reaching for mists like this, I can let this one go because I prefer these two over this one. So I'm gonna declutter that one. And these don't have that much left in both of them. Like, I would like to use this up because I think the Pixie Fixing Mist is actually really nice. The thing I don't like about this is the sprayer. The nozzle, it just, I mean, it comes out like aggressively. I don't love that. I prefer this sprayer. I do want to hold on to this one. So I'm going to put this in like a project pan now and use it all up. I think I'm going to declutter this one. Yeah, I think that I just prefer the Pixie one and I don't need to hold on to this one. This one is good, super affordable. Again, it's just kind of a fixing mist for me. It's not really a setting spray. So I'm gonna declutter this one as well. This one is the Dewy Setting Mist from Rare Beauty. Always an Optimus 4-in-1 mist. It leaves my skin a little bit oily. I can't get away with this now with my skin type, so I am gonna declutter this one as well. The one from One Size is fairly new to my collection. It's the Until Dawn Mattifying Setting Spray. I think it's good. I think the Moira one is better, but because this is the kind of setting sprays I reach for nowadays, this is something I want to hold on to. The Milani Make It Last. I literally cannot remember. I think I used to really like this, but I haven't reached for it in so long. I don't think I need to hold on to this. I'm literally never reaching for this. I have had this in my collection for over a year, so I'm gonna declutter this one as well. Then another really good one is the Catrice Multi-Talent Fixing Mist. I actually think this is a really good one that really locks down my makeup. It's supposed to be long lasting. It's like a prime and fine, which is prime your skin, like prep and prime your skin, and then also lock down your makeup. I think this is a good one also, very affordable. So I'm gonna hold on to that one. Then I have two Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Sprays. I was looking at them to see, do they have enough that I can combine them? But I think they still have too much in each. I was just like grabbing for whatever one I had. I think these are relevant. I think they're also pretty good. So I'm gonna hold on to these as well. And then I have the final two, the Professional Super Setter from Benefit. I have other ones I just prefer more than this. I don't think I need to hold on to this. I'm not reaching for it at all. And then the Sephora Makeup Setting Spray. It says 16-hour wear, transfer proof, sweat, and humidity resistant. Can't remember how this performs. Thought I was gonna declutter this one, but you know what? I'm gonna hold on to it and like test it again and see if I like it, because I have made a pretty good dent in decluttering my setting sprays. So I'm gonna hold on to this one as well. So I have decluttered 5, which I think is pretty darn good. I didn't think I was gonna declutter that many, so I'm happy about it. And I am holding on to 7. And I think that's good. One of these is nearly done, and I feel like I could finish that off. So for someone who doesn't use it that often, I feel like this is a good array. 1 fixing mist, and then the rest are pretty good setters. And then of course this one in the chopping block. So yeah, decluttering 5 and keeping 7. Oh goodness. Okay, concealers. I'm like a hoarder when it comes to concealers. I never know if I'm gonna end up like doing a full face of something or talking about something. So I feel like I keep a lot of them for reference, but I don't think I need to do that. Concealers come out all the time, like foundations. And so I feel like it's one of those categories where even though I love something, when something new comes along, that's the one I end up reaching for instead. And then I forget about some of the oldies. This also includes color correctors. So I see a couple of color correctors on the top. Let's start with that. I'm gonna move this over here to the side. These are, I wanna say, all of my color correctors. Actually, there's a Natasha Denona somewhere stuffed down there. Let's start here. So this is one from Becca. Love it, but don't color correct that often. And this is expired. Like, this is old. It now smells like crayons, so this needs to be decluttered. This one here is something that a subscriber turned me onto. It's the Instant Conceal and Correct from Rimmel. This is actually a tremendous formula. Very thin, really does a decent job at color correcting, like your darkness under your eyes. This here for redness, and then I use purple for my hyperpigmentation. It's supposed to be for dullness. I think that the formula is tremendous. Very inexpensive product that I ended up getting on Amazon. So if I'm gonna color correct, I'm always reaching for this one. So I'm gonna hold on to that. The Catrice Ultimate Camouflage Cream, it's so stiff. It's not like a usable product. I don't think it works very well. If I was gonna reach for anything like this, it would have been like the Becca. It's not a very movable formula. Plus I don't feel like it color corrects that well. So I'm gonna declutter that one. And this one from Milani, I'm gonna hold on to. It's the Conceal and Perfect in the shade Rose. I think it's 01, yeah. It's a really thin formula. I don't find that it overly corrects, but I would like to give it another shot. One more shot on this guy, and then he can get decluttered if it ends up not working for me. Because I don't, like I said, don't color correct that often. And when I do, I would rather reach for the Rimmel. But gonna put that in a shopping block. These are my potted and whatever this is, compact, I guess. The one from Glossier is just so darn thin. It's not bad, it's just very, very light. I think I'm going to declutter this one and put it in reference. But I don't want to keep it in my permanent collection because I don't reach for it. This one from Too Faced is an outdated product. It's the Instant Cover Concealer. It's matte. It's actually really hydrating formula. It's really nice. It's just several years old and I don't reach for it. I prefer a doe foot applicator. It still smells like peaches though. It still smells great. It's fantastic. Like it was a really good product, but yeah, as far as I know, they don't make this anymore. So I'm just going to let it go. This one here from RMS is the Uncover Up Concealer in 00. If I'm reaching for a potted concealer, this one is amazing. I love this concealer from RMS. It's thin, it does its job, it doesn't crease, it doesn't settle into fine lines. It's really, really good. It's very similar to the Too Faced. This is a little bit more matte and a little bit more full coverage, but they're both so hydrating. As far as like potted concealers go, these have been my all-time favorite because I have tried and decluttered many. I'm just usually not into potted concealers. Both of these were fantastic, but if I'm gonna hold on to one, it's gonna be RMS. So keeping it. This one here from Relove, I have to say this is like one of my favorite Relove products. I think their highlighter was really good. Their foundation was really good. This concealer palette, I want to say this is 02. Yeah, it's medium. I don't know why I got it. This is fabulous. This is a beautiful formula. It works really well. Very convenient. So I like this one. I'm going to hold on to that one as well. I am literally just grabbing like random ones from over here. So Kulfi, brand new to me. This is an Ice Berry. It's the Main Match Concealer, I think it's called. Yeah, I love this concealer. Doesn't crease, doesn't settle into fine lines. It's just very hydrating. It's everything that I want in a concealer, medium coverage. Holding on to this one. And I do really like the YSL All Hours concealer. It's not like a standout one. I don't notice that it's like one of my favorites, but I do think it's good, pretty medium coverage and doesn't do any drying under my under eyes, no creasing, no sinking into fine lines. This Dior Backstage one has been one of my favorites. It's getting on the older side. It's the Flash Perfector Concealer. I have mine in the shade 1N, but I do really like this, so I want to hold on to it. Pat McGrath is just old. I feel like a lot of her stuff ends up like turning like this when it's old. This one is the Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Concealer in L5. So I'm going to declutter this one. The one from Valentino, fairly new. This one is the Very Valentino Concealer in LN2. I really cannot remember what I feel about this. Yeah, I'm just drawing a blank, so I'm going to have to test it again. This one from Armani is the Luminous Silk Concealer in 02. I've had this for a while too. It is like, it used to be one of my favorite concealers. The problem is like the formula has started to get old. So it started to like get more dry under my under eyes. So I'm going to declutter that one because it's just not performing how it should be anymore. The NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Light 2 Vanilla. Nice, it's good. I don't reach for this that often, but it's not that old in my collection. I think I bought it to do like a comparison video, so I'm gonna hold on to this one. This one from Too Faced, it's the Born This Way Ethereal Light Concealer. I have mine in shade Graham Cracker. I don't think this is a really good shade match for me. I also don't like the way that this smells. It has a really strong scent to it. I think it's good. Again, not a standout formula. Like, I think it's nice, just not something I notice being like super smoothing under my under eyes, and I can't really stand the smell and the shade is just off, so I'm gonna declutter that one. And then I do like this one. This is the Catrice True Skin High Cover Concealer. This one has 18-hour wear. What shade is this in? 010 Cool Cashmere. I liked the concealer way more than I actually liked the foundation. I have not done a brand new wear test with that foundation since I've had oily skin, but I've always liked the concealer, so I'm gonna hold onto that one. I'm pretty like indifferent about this one. This is the very first IT Cosmetics concealer that's actually worked for me, but I don't think it's the best concealer that I have. It's the Bye Bye Dark Spots Concealer and Serum in the shade Light Neutral 22. I don't use this little brush that it comes with. It's soft though, it's nice. It's just not like what I would use under the under eyes. It's still just a little bit too stiff than I feel like most people would probably use under the under eyes. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. I have a thing about concealers. I have a hard time letting them go. I'm surprised I've even decluttered 7 so far. Okay, I'm just putting these where they're landing. So the first one that I have is the Iconic London Duo, Radiant Concealer and Brightening Duo in Neutral Light. I think it's, again, a decent concealer. It's not great. It has one side that has the concealer side, or what is this? This is the brighten side? No, that's the concealer side, and this is the brighten side. It's funny because I didn't think that I would like layering them up, but I actually didn't like them not layered. So you're supposed to like use this brightening side first and then the liquid to conceal. I actually don't like them on their own. I do like them together, but I don't like a product that I have to use both sides. I just didn't find a use in this. I have put this in my reference library in the closet just in case like I do a full face of Iconic London products. Yeah, so I feel like I do want to hold on to this just for a little bit longer because it's not that old in my collection. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. I'm gonna declutter this one, but it's gonna go into the reference pile. Same thing with the Kosas Brightening Creamy Revealer Concealer. This one is in the shade 2.5C. I just did a video about this. This is one of those viral products that I just don't find work for me. And I think that the line is just a little bit too yellow, so I can never really find a shade that looks perfect on me, like it's my shade match. And I find that this gets drier throughout the day and will sink into my fine lines. I just don't think it looks flattering on me. I don't know why. This is a concealer that a lot of people like that just don't work for me, but this is going to go into the reference library for now because this is, again, like a brand new product. Like I picked this up at the Sephora sale, so it's not that old. I'm just not going to reach for it anymore. Then my absolute favorite of this whole stack is the Lancome Serum Concealer. This is also a fairly new release and new to me. It's in 220C. It is so thin and lightweight, and it has a nice little point to it. I think this is a tremendous like medium coverage, super lightweight concealer. Like I recommend this if you have mature skin or really dry under eyes. Like this is a really good one. I've been reaching for this all the time, so I'm keeping that one. The Wet n Wild Incognito, more light to medium buildable coverage, but it's an affordable option that doesn't crease on me, so I'm gonna hold on to this. The Skin Mimetic Concealer from Make Beauty. I've kept this through several declutters. It's not that old. This one's in the shade 03 Light C. The thing is though, Make Beauty products are so thin. They just don't have a lot of coverage, and I love a lot of Make Beauty products, but I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna fully declutter that one. And then the Rose Ink one, I hate this concealer. I actually hate it. I haven't hated a concealer in a while. This is LX010. It's super gray on me because it's like, you know, it's supposed to be for a cool tone shade, but it's so thick and pasty and dry, and no, just no, not for me. Not a concealer that works for me. So I'm gonna declutter that one. And then I have a mini of the Bobbi Brown Skin Full Cover Concealer. I just did a wear test on the Skin Full Cover foundation. I used to love that. Don't love this concealer though. This is one that sinks into my fine lines, and I held on to this one as well and put it in my reference library, but now I'm going to fully declutter it. Then this one from Moira Beauty is the Lavish Creamy Concealer. I actually really like this, and I do forget to reach for it. So I am going to move this closer to the front of my drawer so that I can use it some more. This one is in 150 Oatmeal. I think it's a really good concealer. Medium coverage, doesn't do any weird stuff. I just forget that it is a really enjoyable formula. Then this one from L'Oreal, it's the True Match Eye Cream in a Concealer. Yes, this is fairly new to me. It's a bad shade, it's too deep, it's too liquidy, and it's kind of patchy. It's not a consistent formula. It seems to kind of separate on itself. So I am not going to hold on to this. I am going to fully declutter it. And this final one here, I cannot remember how I feel about it. It's the Makeup Revolution IRL Filter Finish in C2. It's a soft matte concealer. I remember, I think I liked this. I don't know if I find this again one of my top ones. I kind of feel like this one about that I felt about this one, if that makes sense. Like I can't really remember, and not my top one, but not bad. So some of these I'm gonna have to like pull forward and like remember how I feel about them. These other ones I really like over here. But yeah, I'm gonna hold on to them, but then these are probably gonna go into a chopping block. All right, this next group here, oh my gosh, I can't remember half of these. So the Lawless, the One and Done is a long wear, skin nourishing, clean AF, full coverage concealer in linen. I actually think this is really good. It's a little bit more mattifying under the eyes and a little bit of a drier formula, but it's actually one that doesn't crease on me or sink into my fine lines for being full coverage. It's one of my favorite concealers actually, so I'm gonna hold on to this one. The Sephora Best Skin Ever. It's just, I think it's too deep for me. And I liked it for a full coverage concealer. It was just, yeah, see how yellow it is? I loved the foundation when I had dry skin. I'm just gonna let it go. It's just, that is not a really good shade for me. It's just too warm toned. So I feel like it was a good full coverage concealer, like hydrating. It didn't do anything funny. It's a little bit of a thicker consistency though. And yeah, the shade was never really good for me. Where is my other Dior? So I have two Diors. They're both the same. They're the Forever Skin Correct. This is the old formulation and then this one is the new formulation. I don't love the new formulation as much. I don't feel like it's as smoothing on the under eyes. I love the old. This is in my project pan currently. My cat's freaking out over there. I'm almost done with this. So this one goes absolutely nowhere and I'm gonna hold on to this one too. I don't know if this one's gonna end up staying. I'm just mad that my Holy Grail concealer is reformulated with clean ingredients that I just don't feel like work that great on me. Then I have the Merit. This is actually a complexion stick. It's the Minimalist Perfecting Complexion Stick in the shade Silk. This is actually designed to be foundation and concealer in one. I did not like it as foundation. It was too light for me, a little bit too dewy, but I really did like it as a concealer. The thing is though, I have so many concealers and I would just rather reach for those ones over this as far as concealers go. So this one, because I've just done a full face of Merit, I want to move this into my, he's acting like he's being tortured. He's literally in the hallway with the door open, like, okay. This one I'm gonna move to the closet into the reference library. So technically I'm going to declutter it. I am looking at all 5 of these. These are all new releases. I just don't even, why can't I remember how I feel about them? It's because they didn't become my favorite. And so I just can't remember. House Labs, I remember being a little bit too thick, just like the foundation. This one looking like the foundation. Why does it look like separated already? And like dry. Mind you, these sit in the absolute dark. I close the curtains every time I leave here. They sit in drawers with drawers closed. They never see the sun. So they really shouldn't turn very quickly as far as like products go. Environment for the products to turn quickly anyway. These all have to go with these other 5 up here because I can't remember how I feel about them. It's the Makeup Forever HD Skin. I remember this actually being good, but I can't remember if I liked it more than some of the other ones. So I'm gonna hold on to that one. Gucci Debut Multi-Use Concealer. This one I feel like is in a bad kind of yellowish shade in 14N Fair. I'm gonna give it another shot. Tower 28. What is this called? Serum Concealer in EP. I feel like this is a little bit of a deeper shade for me, but I can get away with it. But again, wanna test it out. Makeup by Mario Concealer in the shade 160. It's the Surreal Awakening Concealer. I can't remember how I feel about that either. And then the House Labs Fair Neutral. Anyway, these are fairly new releases and I've done speed reviews on them, but since that video, I have not used them at all, and that is how quickly I cannot remember products that just don't become my instant holy grails and that I don't continue reaching for over and over. So gonna have to test these out again. All right, this is the last group here. So I have the Milk Makeup Future Fluid All Over Creamy Concealer. Really like this. The shade's a little bit too deep for me in 7NW, but I will still wear it. I don't care. It's a really good concealer. It's medium coverage, creamy, doesn't crease, doesn't sink into fine lines. It's a little bit of a tackier formula, so I don't always find myself reaching for it. I have others that I like over it, but it's a darn good concealer, so keeping it. One of my holy grails as far as full coverage concealers go, it's the Flower Beauty Get Real Serum Concealer. I feel like this is just perfect. Like if it was any drier of a formula, it wouldn't work for me, but it's full coverage, doesn't sink in, doesn't look dry, doesn't crease, yes. Also, one of my holy grails, this is a fairly new release. It's the Smashbox Halo 4-in-1 Healthy Glow Perfecting Pen in the shade L10N. No one really talks about this, but I love it. It's so thin and lightweight and just does its job. I can really layer this heavy under my under eyes to give me medium coverage, and it never looks bad. So holding on to that one. The Maybelline Fit Me. This is like almost gone. I can clearly see there's like half left, maybe not even that much, and it's a little bit older, so I'm gonna let this go. I have too many. And then the NYX Bear With Me Serum Concealer. This is a repurchase because I bought it when it first came out and I did not like it, and then everybody loved it. I honestly should have talked about this in my viral products everyone loves that I just don't like. It was too thick. Like, it's too thick for me under my under eyes. Plus, I don't love a component like this for a concealer. So this one is going to go into the closet, into reference of declutter, but out of my collection. I really like the Prisme Libre Skin Caring Concealer from Givenchy. I also have the foundation. I think they're both good. Like, I think that my skin gets along with them, so I'm going to hold on to that one. These are also my holy grails. LYS Triple Fix Full Cover Brightening Concealer. They're not full coverage, not even a little bit. They're more like light buildable to medium coverage, but they're so thin and they never sink into fine lines. They like smooth out my under eyes. I think their foundation is also like incredibly smoothing on my skin. The only thing I don't love about this is the packaging. Like, getting this doe foot applicator back in is not how it should be, but I find that happens with a lot of their products. So I have this one I'm working on and a backup. They both stay. Then Natasha Denona is fine. I kind of feel like this is a thick formula too. It kind of reminds me of the NYX. It's like thicker. Like, I don't know if that's evident on the swatch. I like it, and I think that it doesn't settle in, so I'm gonna hold on to it, but it's not one of my favorites. This is the color corrector. It doesn't do anything for me. And then when I layer these up, they're way too thick, and it definitely sinks into my fine lines. So I am going to move this into reference because it's a kind of pair, but I'm going to declutter it out of my collection. And then the final concealer that I have is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer in the shade 4 Fair. I quite like this. I don't actually think that it's too radiant, especially when I set my under eyes. That radiance never stays. I just really like something hydrating and a very thin formula, and I get that from this, so I quite enjoy this. Same thing with the foundation, so that one stays. Okay, I'm decluttering 18 concealers. I actually feel really good about that, so. And I'm keeping 31. How embarrassing is that? It's quite a lot. Nobody needs 31 concealers, that's for darn sure, with 2 freaking under eyes. And like little dots under those 2 under eyes. Except that I'm gonna have to test like at least 8 of these to see if they're gonna end up staying or going. But honestly, decluttering, I had to count again, 18. Oh my gosh, it feels so good. I've not decluttered 18 concealers ever, all in one. And I'm just not reaching for these, so I feel good about that. I do want to mention I am not doing foundations in this video because foundations, I'm still doing wear tests on all the foundations in my collection, and I'm going to do one final foundation declutter, like roundup and declutter at the very end. So let's move on into setting powders. I genuinely have so many powders. I couldn't even get them all into frame. I mean, in this basket. So this is ridiculous. Let me move these over here. And we'll just start with these ones. I'm so much more into pressed powder these days than I am loose powder. I think loose powder is nice to have. I just don't find myself reaching for it if I kind of have a choice, I guess, because I'm panning one currently of the loose powder variety. So I want to pull out like some of my absolute favorites. The Moira Beauty, this is a powder foundation. I use this as a setting powder. I do all powder foundations. It's the Complete Wear Powder Foundation in 125N. This really locks down my makeup. Like, if you're looking for a super mattifying lockdown, like, this is a tremendous powder foundation. Again, all of my powder foundations I wear as setting powders, just because I feel like setting powders don't lock down my foundation enough through the humidity and my oily skin. So I feel like that's kind of the trick I've found in really locking down or setting my foundation. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. And then I really like this one from Moira Beauty too. It's the Soft Focus Waterproof Setting Powder in 100. I put this in a chopping block because I couldn't remember how I felt about it, then I used it again. This is a really great powder to use with a puff. I wouldn't say like use this with a brush. I just don't think it picks up enough, but I love this with like a little puffy. Also one of my favorites. And then the one size, what is this? The Turn Up the Base Versatile Foundation Powder in Fair 3N. Also one of my holy grail setting powders. And I've made a pretty big dent. I've also caused a little bit of hard pan because I'm probably guilty of putting like a wet sponge in there on accident, just like grabbing the same sponge that I used to like apply my concealer, but also a holy grail. I really like this Wet n Wild one. I used this as like a priming product and I think it was really nice. I don't think it like overly set my makeup, but it definitely smoothed my skin. So I want to hold on to that one. This is another really good mattifying, lock down the foundation kind of setting powder. So from Relove, I'm going to hold on to that one. That is in the shade Vanilla. And by the way, this one is just one shade. It doesn't come in a shade. This Laura Mercier one is a Real Flawless Luminous Perfecting Pressed Powder in Translucent. I think this is more of like a luminizing powder, but it's still beautiful. I have a couple of those that I like to keep in my collection. I think are really pretty, so I'm going to hold on to that one. The Make Beauty is also really good. It doesn't like lock down my foundation like better than some of the other ones. This one is the Diffuse Set Translucent Pressed Powder in Light to Medium. This one just gives me a little bit more coverage. So if I'm like using a lighter coverage foundation, I like to reach for this one. I'm so indifferent about the 16-hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation by Essence. I just prefer other ones over this one, so I'm gonna let it go. It's in 01 Porcelain. And then the Sephora one, also guilty of hard panning this with a wet sponge. That's my fault. It's the Micro Smooth Multitasking Bake Face Powder in 15 Nude. I think it's good. It's just as oily as my skin is right now. This isn't really doing the trick for me. I would definitely say this is good for somebody that has dry skin. If they're not looking to like set it down too much, then it's pretty nice. But I am gonna declutter this one. Okay, I just brought out the next group here. This one is, I'm currently panning and I've taken out the sifter because I couldn't get any more product out. This is all that's left and then I'm done with it. Then I have a backup from one of the advent calendars of the Hourglass Translucent Veil Setting Powder. And I don't need this because I wouldn't repurchase this, but also because I have so many that I prefer over this one. So I'm going to declutter that one. Then I have the one from Hourglass that is kind of the, again, more glowy, and I do like it. It's the Ambient Lighting Power in Ethereal Light, kind of like the Laura Mercier. I really enjoy these sometimes, so I'm gonna hold on to this one as well. Then I have the one from Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Airbrush Brightening Flawless Finishing Powder. It's the white one. I just don't use powders like this. So I'm gonna declutter it. It's not like it's bad, it's just meant for under the eyes. And I mean, I use one powder all over my face, so. Then this is a repurchase for me. It's the 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation Powder from L'Oreal. It's in the shade 130 Ivory Beige. Again, locks down my foundation. I love it as a setting powder, so I'm going to hold on to that one. Another holy grail of mine, the e.l.f., now I'm just making a mess, powder foundation. And this one is the Camo Powder Foundation in the shade Fair 150C. Also, really, really good mattifying, lock down the foundation powder. Then as far as loose powders go, this is my only pink one from One Size. It's the Ultimate Setting Powder in Ultra Pink. I like it because it's pink, and I think it really does a good job. One Size is very tailored to oily skin, so that's kind of the benefit to this, and I think it does a really good job. And it's new to me, so I'm gonna hold on to that one. All right, I just grabbed a couple more here. I have one from Moira Beauty. This is like the color correcting powder, Set and Correct Finishing Powder in 100. I had this, I've already decluttered this, but I had this in my reference library. Going to get rid of it. I just don't color correct, especially as like a final step. And I just don't like it in this quad. I was just swirling it together. It's just not my preference, so I'm gonna let that go. The Huda Beauty Easy Bake and Snatch is fairly good. I don't think it overly sets my makeup down. I think it's pretty decent, but it is fairly new, so I'm gonna hold on to it. Then the Rare Beauty powder, I just don't find this is like my preferred kind of setting powder. It reminds me a lot of the one from House Labs. Both of them are not very finely milled, And even though I have oily skin, I don't think they lock my face down. Because these brands are both very relevant, like at the current moment, I am going to move these into my reference library in case I want to do like a full face. But I did have the Fenty Beauty, what is this called? Instant Retouch Setting Powder in the shade Butter in my closet for the reference library. I just don't think I need to hold on to this. This is not a powder that I feel like works for me the way that I wish it did. I wish that it was like more setting, and I feel like it does it like temporarily but doesn't last very long. So this one I am going to fully declutter. And then the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish in the shade One Fair. This is probably the next one that's going in my project pan after the Hourglass because I've hit pan on it. I love this under the under eyes like way more than this as far as like a setting powder that's more finely milled. This doesn't overly set me, so it's more like an under eye powder, although I do like it like swept all across the face, so I'm gonna hold on to that one as well. And then the Maybelline Fit Me, I've had this in my collection for a while. It's more of a finishing powder than it is a setting powder. Do I want to keep this one? I'm going to end up putting this in a chopping block because I honestly cannot remember if I've reached for this since I've had like oily skin, and I want to see how it does now. So I know a lot of people like this, and the reason that I bought it was because it was hyped a while ago, but I can't honestly remember if I've reached for this since my skin has changed. So I'm going to hold on to that, put it in a chopping block. One of my favorite loose powders was the Beauty Bakery Flower Bitter Not Better powder in the shade Oat Translucent. I liked it so much I had a backup of it back when I barely had any powders in my collection, but because I have so many now, I am going to get rid of the backup, but I'm going to hold on to this one. And because this is a little bit older in my collection as well, I probably will take this one to try and pan it as a loose powder next. So holding on to that one and then getting rid of the backup. And then the Rimmel Stay Matte is good, but it's not better than some of my other pressed ones. So I'm going to declutter this. The Dior Backstage Powder No Powder, holy grail, holy grail. Doesn't overly set me for a long period of time, but it is so freaking smoothing on the skin. And this one in the shade 2N is tinted, so it gives me coverage. I freaking love this powder. I will never get rid of it, and I hope they don't either. This is the NARS Translucent Crystal Light Reflecting Powder. Again, one of those kind of illuminating powders. I kept the Hourglass and I kept the Laura Mercier. I think those are better than this one. This formula is silky and soft. It just doesn't seem to like stay on my skin. It kind of sits on top of it. So I am going to declutter that one. Here is the final 6. The Huda Beauty Mini Loose Bake Powder, whatever the heck this is called. Baby Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder and Pound Cake. It's okay. It's a decent powder. I just talked about this in my viral products that just don't work for me because I don't find this a better product than, say, a lot of the other ones that I've been talking about that I think are really finely milled loose powders that work really well. Like, I don't think this is better than the Hourglass that I wouldn't repurchase. I don't think it's better than the Maybelline Fit Me. I don't think it's necessarily even better than the Fenty one that I just decluttered. I'm gonna hold on to this for now, but this is gonna go into a chopping block to see if miraculously it does something for me that, you know, just changes my mind. Otherwise, I'm gonna end up decluttering this. So there's definitely some work I have to do with chopping blocks this year, but for now it gets to stay. And then I have the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder in Translucent. Goodness gracious. I can't remember how this performs now on my oily skin, but when I had dry skin, it was way too heavy. I want to put this again with the Huda in a chopping block. So I'm gonna hold on to it for now. I don't really care for the Say as far as I can remember. I feel like the Say was just a little bit of a thicker powder, but I don't remember if I've reached for it since oily skin time. Ugh, I'm gonna have to put this one in a chopping block as well. This is the Airset Radiant Loose Setting Powder. Okay, so it's radiant. It's supposed to be radiant. How come I cannot remember some of these? You get so many that, man, if they don't become your favorite, it's really hard to remember how they perform. So far I have 3 in my chopping block. Maybelline, Laura Mercier, and Huda. I'm gonna move Say in there as well. Catrice, really good baking and loose setting powder. I don't bake that often, and this is a fully white powder, but boy, it sets you. Super finely milled, basically like smoke, as I heard Johnny Ross put it. Like when they're so finely milled, it's basically just like smoke that's just coming out. This is pretty good for a very specific purpose. It's supposed to be water resistant. I think that if I'm really trying to set my face, like these two are the ones that I would reach for in the loose powder version. So Catrice gets to stay. W7 Matte Dreamer Powder. Oh my gosh. If you guys want to set it down, Classy Cameo is the shade I have. This is amazing and super affordable, so it stays. Then I have the Maybelline Lasting Fix Banana Translucent Setting Powder. I've used a pretty good amount of this. I would say there's maybe half left, but I've had it in my collection a little while and it has definitely been like taken over or phased out by some other ones. So I'm gonna get rid of this one, Declutter. The Givenchy Prism Libre, this is in number 2, Satin Blanc. So it's pretty good. This is more like a finishing powder for me, and it's not like an overly setting product. It's really finely milled. It's just not overly blurring, but because it's new and it's more like a finishing powder, it's kind of what I think of it as. I'm gonna hold on to it. I've kept a couple of like finishing powders, like the Charlotte I kind of consider like a finishing powder for me and oily skin. And then maybe the Hourglass and the Laura Mercier are kind of like finishing powders for me, but I'm gonna hold on to this one as well. And I wanna say that both of these are finishing powders as well. It's the Beauty Powder from Gucci. And I mean, it's pretty good. It's definitely a more mattifying setting powder, but not an overly long lasting one. But I am gonna hold on to it because it's fairly new to me and it was pretty pricey and I do like it. Then this one from Kiko Milano is a full on finishing powder. It's the 2-in-1 primer and perfecting powder. So basically like a finishing powder. It's also very finely milled and kind of radiant. Boy, I like this, but do I like it more than the Laura Mercier one is the question. I don't know, the textures are so different. This is like a almost gel. Laura Mercier gives more coverage. Kiko is nice. Okay, I'm getting rid of Kiko and because I'm gonna hold on to Laura Mercier. I just don't need that many. I just don't reach for them that often. But man, they are so silky soft, both of those. If you guys are looking for, I just love Kiko. I mean, you could easily get Laura Mercier if you're looking for kind of a radiant finishing powder, but this one, this formula is just better than Laura. It's so bouncy and creamy, but for the purposes that I like to use it for, and Laura just giving a little bit more coverage, I'm gonna keep that one and let this go. Okay, I am decluttering 13. I think I did better than I thought I would. I like powder. I use powder all the time. So for me, getting rid of powder is actually a little bit more difficult. 13 is pretty good. I mean, I could do better, but then I've got like 5 in the chopping block over here. So getting rid of 13 and keeping 24 with like 5 in the chopping block. So again, one of those is almost done and panning it. I'll move some of the other ones into the panning stages, like 1 pressed, 1 loose, and then 5 are in the chopping block. So maybe I can narrow it down. I just really love powder because I'm so oily. I never used to love powder as like a category of makeup, but now I absolutely love it. Decluttering 13, feel pretty good about that. I have a couple of brow products and mascaras that I want to go through in this video. I know that's like a weird combination, but I've just been thinking about how I want to do my declutters for the end of the year. So I am going to grab brow products, which are just a couple, and then we'll jump right into mascaras. Here are all of my brow products. I don't have a big brow product collection, I guess. I basically only use pencils, nothing else. I got this in a Vogue advent calendar. It's the BBB London Clear Brow Gloss. I won't use this. It's nice if somebody likes this and it's clear, so it was good that they put like a non-colored product into an advent calendar. But yeah, I'm not gonna use this. I'm gonna pass this along to somebody, so I'm going to declutter this. And then also I got this from the mystery box that I ordered from ColourPop. It's the Feather Effect Brow Pen in black brown. And I also do not want this. This might be something that I would use because it's very finely tipped and like it's actually a good shade match. Well, relatively good shade match for me. But again, not something that I use. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to my brows, and I think a pencil works just fine for what I like. So I'm gonna declutter this as well. This is the L'Oreal Never Fail. No, it's the Brow Stylist Definer. The Never Fail is their eyeliner. Ultra fine tip pencil in the shade Blonde. This just didn't work for me. It was way too creamy and it kept breaking. And I have heard some people say that they really like this, so maybe I just kind of got like an older product, but yeah, it's just too creamy. Also, it just kept slipping around. So I am going to declutter that one as well. My favorite pencils are these, and I reach for these ones constantly. So this is the Sephora Microfine. What is this called? I guess it's just the retractable brow pencil in taupe. This is amazing and the best dupe in like shade match and formula I have found to the benefit precisely my brow, which is my holy grail. I have repurchased both of these many times, but I also really like the Dior. The reason that I probably won't repurchase this one is because these are less expensive, even though I really do like this pencil. The only thing is, like, I worry it will dry out. I mean, not that these pencils are really subject to drying out too much, but it doesn't like have a cap on it. It just twists up. But also really good formula, not too creamy, not too hard. I want to say this one is waterproof, but no, it is not. Or at least it doesn't say that it is on here. This one is a little bit of a deeper shade for me. So if I'm looking for something a little bit more striking, this one I want to say is in brown. Whereas this one is in 2.5 in the Benefit Precisely My Brow, which is my favorite color for my natural brow tone. But these other two ones I also really love. The soft brown in the Brow Kiki from One Size, waterproof, also amazing. I think it's more affordable by a couple of dollars. I think this is like 22 and then this one is 25, but the Sephora is 12, so you know. But that one is also really good. This one from Gucci has a little bit of like this yellowish undertone, which I sometimes like in my brows. It's like a little bit of a warmer kind of reddish tone maybe in 02. This is their Stylo. It's also their microfined waterproof. I really like waterproof and that's why I really enjoyed these four. These are my absolute favorites. I like this one from Moira. It's a bit of a stiffer formula. It's the 1.5 Precision Brow Pencil and I want to say this is in taupe as well. I won't repurchase this though because I would rather get the Sephora one if I'm going for something more affordable. I like this one from Rare Beauty. This is one of her newer ones. It's the Brow Harmony Precision Pencil and this one is in taupe. But even for a taupe shade, this is a little bit too deep for me and it's not microfine, but yeah, it's still just a little bit too deep. It comes out a little bit dark on the actual brows, but I prefer this one so much more than her other one. I just don't think I'll repurchase it. This one too from Too Faced, what shade is this? Also taupe. It's a good shade because it's like a lighter and it's pretty cool tone. Like if you can kind of see it compared to the Rare Beauty one, but it's a little bit of a drier formula. Again, won't repurchase this, but do like it. Then this one from Merit is their 1980 Brow Pomade. Not my thing. This one is in the shade Blonde. I just don't use products like this. I got it for a full face of Merit and it doesn't really do much. I kept calling it like a soft hold. It doesn't even really hold anything, honestly. I think if you wanted to just very lightly fill in your brows or tint them, it's nice, but 1980 brow, it wasn't like holding my brows like 1980. So I'm gonna declutter this. I take that back. I'm going to put this one in the closet for reference because I just did a full face of Merit, and if I wanna talk about Merit again, I may wanna reach for this. So for now, I'm going to hold on to it, but declutter it. This one is the Goof Proof Brow Powder from Benefit in 3, just too deep. I like the 3 in the pencil, but this powder, for whatever reason, it's a little bit more dark than the pencil. I mean, I don't know why. And it's also just not something that I like. I thought I would try a brow powder, but yeah, I'm just a pencil gal at heart. I am going to declutter 5, and then I am keeping my 7. Some of these I am painfully getting through. I wanna say like the Rare Beauty and the Moira and the Too Faced, I'm like using just to use, but these 4 over here I really enjoy. So I do want to mention that some of these things I have technically like decluttered already. They were in my closet, but the ones that I'm bringing back out are the ones that I'm finally getting rid of, like I'm fully decluttering. So, but I did want to include them in this video just to do a final declutter of them. So I wanted to let you know that. Same thing with these mascaras. Some of these mascaras were my last declutter and I kept some of them in the reference library, but I wanted to bring them back out again because there are some that I just want to get rid of. I don't think I need to hold on to them. I've done my final videos with them and I'm ready to just finally let them go. So this one I got also in the Vogue Advent calendar. It's the Push-Up Lashes from Charlotte Tilbury. I really enjoy this mascara. I am going to take it out of the box. I do have a mini, but I don't like minis. I bought the mini to do a full face of Charlotte just so that I could kind of save some money. This is a mascara I already like, so I can hold on to it because I will use this. And I will pass along the mini Pillow Talk Push-Up Lashes. I personally don't like a really short wand, just because going over to your left lashes, I don't like that. Like I don't like crossing my nose with this really short wand. So I am going to give this to somebody else and I will hold on to the large size. And then Milani, I had kept the highly rated mascara in my reference library in the closet because I thought I might talk about this year, but I didn't. So it's gonna go bye-bye. Decluttering that one. I'm decluttering over here to the left this time. And then the e.l.f. Lash and Roll also came out of the closet, and I had held on to this one so that I could maybe talk about this one in a future video. I did feature it in viral products that just don't work for me video, and I'm pretty much done. I don't think I need to talk about this anymore, so I'm going to declutter this one. And then the Moira Beauty, I wanna say, I may or may not have like already decluttered this. No, I think I held on to this. I tried it again. It's nice. It's just not a wand that I really like. It's supposed to be volumizing and lifting. The wand is too big. If you ever hear me talk about mascaras, it's just not my preferred style. I make such a mess. So that one I'm going to declutter. I also held on to the Milk Rise mascara. I don't know why. I just guessed for reference in case I wanted to talk about it. But it's kind of a goopy mess. It's just not my preferred wand. The formula turned pretty quickly. So I am not going to hold on to this one either. I am going to declutter this one. This one was also in the closet, the Benefit Roller Lash. I had talked about it in I think like a dupes video for with the e.l.f. and that was great and fine and all dandy, but not my preferred style, not pigmented enough for me, and I'm going to declutter it. This one I've had in my collection for a while, the Maybelline Sky High Mascara. It's good, it's fine. It is a pretty wet formula. It does give me pretty decent length, and I really do like this mascara. It's just old and it needs to be thrown in the trash. I've definitely had this over a year at this point, but I haven't even reached for it in at least 6 months. So I'm going to declutter that. The Merit Clean Lash, not my thing. I put it in a speed reviews. I did a full face of Merit. It's just too minimal for me. Plus, it's not my preferred wand style. It's very clean, very wispy. If you're looking for very minimal like tint and length for your lashes, then this one is very, very nice. But it's not for me, so this is going to get decluttered. Again, with the other Merit stuff, I am going to keep it in my reference pile in the library. This is the Give Beauty Can't Stop Staring mascara. You know, people either love or hate this mascara. I actually really like it, but it's just not beating out some of my other ones. Do I want to keep this? I don't know. I'm thinking of like the mascaras here and which ones I want to keep, and I think I want to put this in like a chopping block. I just really haven't reached for it. It's not my favorite. If it doesn't blow my mind the next time I use it, I'm probably going to declutter this. So for now, I'm going to hold on to it. I like these CoverGirl. This one is the Lash Blast Clean, and then this one is Volume. They're so similar in their wand styles, but they're such a wet pigmented formula. They're actually really nice, but I think they're more wispy than anything. And I don't know if they're what I'm reaching for right now. I want to put these in a chopping block. I don't dislike them. I just kind of feel like I'm reaching for something a little bit more intense on the lashes at the current moment. So chopping block those. I really enjoy the Huda Beauty One Coat Wow Mascara. This went into like my best makeup releases of 2023. It's pretty darn good. It's like an hourglass kind of shaped wand. It's not my top favorite, but it's pretty darn good. I was really loving this when I first got it. It gives volume, but mostly length. It is a lengthening, extra volumizing and lifting mascara. I would say it's better at lifting. Like one thing it does do is really lift, but the volume is kind of minimal compared to some of my other volumizing mascaras. It's a pretty good one, and I really like it for the lower lashes, so I'm gonna hold on to this one. This one I decluttered already and kept in the reference pile. It's the Victoria Beckham Vast Lash. I don't like the wand again. I don't know, the formula is just not very good. I don't know, I think I like a stickier kind of formula. Like it has to be wet, but it also has to grip my lashes. I feel like this is too emollient, and so it doesn't really grip my lashes. It kind of makes more of a mess than anything, and I really just don't want to hold on to this for the sake of holding on to this. So I'm also going to declutter that one. And then this one from Rare Beauty, I really do like. I did not like this the first time I tried it. And then I really started to love it as the formula started to dry out. It's not my preferred style wand, but it's still very beautiful. And then it got old and I had to let it go. And then I repurchased it more recently. The reason that I'm gonna let this go this time is because, again, I don't like minis. Mini mascaras are like the one thing I could easily pass on. I just don't like a really short wand. I just realized I had like eyeshadow here. Let me just get that off. I was like swatching a single shadow. Anyway, I'm going to declutter this one as well. I'm really trying to be cutthroat right now. And so I'm like pausing between filming because I need to be honest with myself about what I really, really reach for, because mascaras are only good for 6 months. Why am I gonna lie and pretend I'm not reaching for the same 5? Right? Okay, Gen C. Spectator Sport, not my thing. Not my kind of wand, not my kind of formula. This was not good for me. There was nothing good about it for me. It didn't really deposit a lot of pigment. It was kind of on the drier side. I don't know. The wand just makes a hot mess. This is a relatively new product in my collection. I want to say it's also relevant because it won Allure Best of Beauty. So it's going to go with merit into the declutter like reference library in the closet, but I don't want to hold on to it. This is my holy grail volumizing mascara, the Fenty Beauty Hella Thick Mascara. You know, I don't know why nobody else talks about it. It is just so darn pigmented and like intense. Like it gives me intensity on the eyes. So fully in love with this darn thing, and I will be repurchasing it. So I'm going to keep it. And then before that, I really liked the Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water Mascara, and I still reach for this. Not as much anymore because I really prefer the Fenty, and this doesn't have a whole ton of life left in it. It's a drier formula anyway, so I'm gonna get my use out of it and then get rid of it. It's a nice volumizing tubing mascara, so very easy to remove at the end of the night. Fenty is a lot harder to take off. I really recommend this though if you're looking for a tubing volumizing mascara that is pretty darn like smudge proof. The thing with Fenty is if it's humid, like it smudges. If I knew I was gonna be like a super hot day, I would rather reach for this one, but I'm gonna hold on to that and finish it up because it doesn't have a whole ton of life left. And then this one from Lawless, the One and Done mascara, was my holy grail for many years. I think it's just been beaten out by Beauty Bay's mascara, quite honestly, in terms of like a volumizing mascara. But this is a recent repurchase for me. So this is pretty much a brand new tube. So I'm gonna hold on to this one. And then I don't enjoy this. The Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Volumizer. This is their volumizing tubing mascara. You guys, look at this wand. It's not that it's not pretty, it's just that I make such a mess and I don't like the hassle. So I kept this in my reference of mascara, like my reference library. I keep saying that over and over, but I am going to fully declutter this. I am totally on the fence about this one, the Essence Lash Like a Boss. It's intensely pigmented. It is so darn black. It stains my eyelashes like at the end of the night. So much product comes off when I'm removing this mascara. Again, it just comes down to, I don't really like this wand. And I find like curves like this, I tend to like struggle because my eyes aren't like perfectly shaped like this. So, you know, it's not like, I don't know, I don't find it convenient. Keep the freaking thing straight. I don't like wands like this, unless you guys do and there's a market out there for that. I don't care for it. I'm gonna put this with these three into a chopping block and see how I like it, because I really haven't reached for it recently. I want to see how I feel about it. By the way, all the stuff that I'm telling you guys I'm putting in a chopping block, when I put everything back in the drawer, I put all of the stuff that was in the chopping block up front, and I will be using those items first to decide whether they stay or they go. I think the Lash Princess gets to stay. It's very similar to like Fenty in the wand, how intense the pigmentation is, how intense the volume is, and it also transfers. So it's one that I don't reach for as much because it's a transfer mascara, and this one transfers a ton less than the Essence Lash Princess. But you know what? I feel like this is just one of those you just gotta hold on to, so I'm gonna hold on to it. Let's see. I think the Maybelline Lash Sensational is nice, and I have loved this off and on throughout the years. This used to be one that I just used, and it only, like back when I only used one mascara, one blush, one, you get it. And I think that the CoverGirl ones are just a little bit better. I'm not finding myself reaching for this. I think it's fine. It's just not one of my top ones, so I'm gonna declutter it. And then my two top mascaras, I want to say, aside from the Fenty at the current moment, are the Ritual Defy Levitation Lash and the the Beauty Bay High Key Mascara, which nobody talks about. This one is intense. Like volume, length, it grips the lashes. Like it makes them so pigmented. Like it's such a great mascara. I will be repurchasing this for certain. Plus it's a wand style I really like. This one has a natural bristle instead of the plastic one, and it's also very similar to the Beauty Bay, but it's not as pigmented. So that's the only real difference there. A little bit of a different formula, not as wet either. And the KVD is good. This is the full sleeve. It's just not like, you know, they make it seem like it's going to be such intense lashes, but it's not really super intense. It's a super wet formula, so it doesn't like grip. It's not extra volumizing. It's more of a lengthening mascara. Again, I like it from the lower lashes, and I thought this was a tremendous release, but then I started trying more and yeah, realized that there were other mascaras that I just preferred more than this one. I am gonna hold on to it though. This one probably is also gonna go into a chopping block. The Telescopic Lift was fine from L'Oreal. You know, this is like brand new. I tested it in a full face of L'Oreal. It's waterproof, it's okay. I, again, don't love this curved wand. I think that's always what it comes down to for me. Like, what's the application like also? Like, how easy is it? And how much do I enjoy it? I think I'm gonna put this in the closet. I'm gonna declutter this in, again, like kind of the reference library for a little while in case I talk about this again. But if I don't, at the 6-month mark, I will toss that. I am gonna let this one go from Gucci. It's nice. It's a pretty decent mascara. You know what? I'm not. I'm gonna put this in the chopping block again because I really did enjoy this mascara. The thing is, it's my most buildable mascara, and I like that. It builds to a certain point though. It won't get like super intense like some of mine will, but it is the best at layering on top of itself. So I like it, plus I like the wand. But again, if I'm not reaching for this, if this doesn't blow my mind, I need to declutter it because again, I'm reaching for like the same 5. So chopping block, and that makes 5 in the chopping block at this particular moment. I just wore this recently. It's the Catrice Glam and Doll False Lashes. I used to really like this. Like it's a lovely wand. I mean, it's curved and I don't love that, but it's short plastic bristles. This though is on the older side, so I'm pretty sure it's like getting dried out. It's just not performing as well, and I found other mascaras that I prefer more than this one. For example, both of these I feel like are like very lengthening because they're similar wet formulas, so I'm going to declutter that one. And then the Thrive Cosmetics Liquid Lash Extensions, I also wore this one recently too. Kind of like chopping block it. And I like it. I mean, pretty darn good. Not as intense as I remember it being, but also I found some more that are pretty darn intense-er. So I don't think this lives in my head the way that it used to, but it's still good, so I want to hold on to it and get some more use out of it. This one from Simi Haze is called, I want to say the Easy Lash. Like this is a pretty good one too. Short plastic bristled wand. This one's gonna go into the chopping block as well. I haven't reached for it, but boy, this used to be one that I couldn't put down. But you know, they get dethroned sometimes so quickly. So I'm gonna chopping block all of these ones over here. I am actually decluttering 15. So technically 3 are gonna go into reference, but I'm gonna call it declutter 15. That is literally 15 mascaras leaving my collection. Okay, I feel good about that. And I still have way too many. So let's count these guys up here. 16. So I almost decluttered exactly half. But all of these ones right here are in the chopping block. So we'll move these to the front of the drawer. I will be conscientious about using these first to test them. And if I don't like them, then I will get rid of them, because honestly, this little group here of mascaras, like it makes me happy. Like these are mascaras I know and love, some for very different reasons, but these are the ones that I'm constantly reaching for. Maybe minus the Charlotte at this point, because this one is like brand new back in my collection, I guess. I haven't repurchased it in a while on purpose. But yeah, I mean, the rest of these, oh, I really do enjoy all of these mascaras. So holding on to 16 and decluttering 15. That is the end of the video today, you guys. If you are interested in seeing future declutters, please hit that subscribe button. I will be posting the rest of my declutters for the end of the year, which are going to include blush, bronzer, highlighter, face palettes. I am gonna do eyeshadows. I have not done an eyeshadow declutter on my channel ever. I've only done eyeshadow collection videos, and I have been collecting eyeshadow palettes for 3 freaking years. I don't even wanna count how many I have. It's probably a lot. So I am going to make an honest effort to declutter some of my eyeshadow palettes that I'm not holding onto. I think the eyeshadow palette video will probably include singles, but I may do that in like a different video, like singles and eye products. So there are more videos to come. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, if you are interested in seeing other declutters, please check my channel for a declutter playlist. I'm out of here, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Bye guys.